Hello children, today we are going to see the sequence in which agriculture practices are carried out in crop production and management. The first step in agriculture practices is preparation of soil. The next one, the selection and sowing of seeds and irrigation, then crop production, after that harvesting, and finally preservation and storage of harvest. Now we will discuss all the agriculture practices one by one. The first one is preparation of soil. This is one of the major processes in agriculture is the preparation of soil for growing crops. The soil is prepared in three steps. They are ploughing, leveling and applying manners and fertilizers. First step in preparation of soil is ploughing. It is the process of loosening and turning over of the soil to form a seabed. It is called ploughing, or you can call it as a tilling. Seabed means it is an area of soil prepared for planting seeds. Ploughing is done with the help of an implement called the plough, which is usually made of wood or iron. This is the plough. It contains a strong triangular iron strip called ploughshare and a long log of wood called a plough shaft. In earlier days, ploughing was done manually using a plough. Over a time, work animals such as oxen, horses and mules have come to use it to drive the plough. So nowadays we are not mainly using this one. So we have a modern techniques. The modern methods of ploughing employ machines such as tractors, which make the process more efficient. The benefits of ploughing soil: it loosens the soil and allows the roots of plants to penetrate the soil easily. Then it allows air to enter soil. Ploughing helps to evenly mix organic matter in the soil. Ploughing also helps to remove weeds. The next step is leveling of soil. The soil in a field may still have large pieces of soil, which is called as clods. Even after ploughing, these clods will be there. So these clods are broken down using an implement called the plank, or you can call it as a leveler. So leveling helps make the soil surface level for efficient sowing and irrigation. The next step in preparation of soil is applying manure and fertilizers. Plants require nutrients to grow and develop properly. Certain nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium and potassium are naturally available in the soil. However, their levels in soil may decrease over time as they are absorbed by crops. To replenish nutrients before new crops are sown, manure and fertilizers are applied to the soil. Now we understand why manure and fertilizers are applied to the soil only for the replenish the nutrients. Now we see what is manure and fertilizers. Manure is a natural organic substance obtained by the microbial decomposition of animal waste or plant residue. It is used to add organic nutrients such as nitrogen to the soil. So the process of adding manure to fields is called manuring. Fertilizers means it is a chemical substance that are combination of one or more inorganic salts. This table shows the difference between manure and fertilizer. Now we will see how manure and fertilizer are differentiated. Now look at the first point. Manure is a natural organic matter, but fertilizer is a chemical substance. Now see the second point. It is relatively less rich in plant nutrients, but fertilizer is rich in plant nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Now see the third point. Manure can be prepared manually and it is cheaper than fertilizer. But fertilizer are prepared artificially in factories and it is more expensive than manure. Now see the fourth point, it provides humus to the soil. Fertilizer does not provide humus to the soil. Example for manures are bone meal, fish meal and cow dung. Example for fertilizers are ammonium sulfate, ammonium phosphate, potassium nitrate and urea. Now we will see the advantages of manures than fertilizers. So manures improve the soil quality. So that's why what will happen, it make the soil porous and thus by facilitating the easy exchange of gases. So gases can be easily exchanged. So plant need what? It need carbon dioxide and it give out the oxygen. And the second point, they also increase the number of beneficial microorganisms in soil. And even earthworms also help the plant to grow well. And also they increase the water holding capacity of soil. The disadvantages of using chemical fertilizers or have certain disadvantages by using this chemical fertilizer. Their long-term use can change the pH of soil So that thereby what will happen? It affect the crops. Fertilizers also tend to leach. Leach means it drain away by percolating or seeping through the porous surface. And thereby what will happen? It pollute the land and water and harming many different organisms. As the fertilizers leach away, more and more may need to be applied to the soil, and this may become toxic to the crop. And therefore farmers need to add the right amount of fertilizers to the soil and at the right time to avoid any adverse effects on the soil and the rest of the environment. The next agriculture practices is selection and sowing of seeds. The selection of good quality seeds for growing crops is very important, as such seeds will ensure a strong and healthy crop with a good yield. Farmers should not select the small size seeds, discolored and deformed, because they may be affected some diseases or it may be damaged. Farmers have to collect healthy seeds from their crops, or they can buy from the government organizations such as the National Seed Corporation that produce seeds of good quality. Sowing means the process of planting seeds in soil for cultivation is called sowing. Seeds should be sown at the correct depth in soil so that they get enough air or yet deep enough to be safe from birds. While sowing the seeds, they have to leave some space from each other so that the saplings do not have to compete with each other for nutrients, water, light as they grow. Sowing is carried out either manually or by using implements. In manual sowing, where seeds are scattered by hand all over the field, is called broadcasting. Crops such as wheat, paddy, methi and coriander are sown by this method. Broadcasting is the quickest and cheapest method of sowing, as no skilled labor or implement is required. However, it does not ensure that proper seed depth and seed spacing are maintained. So in broadcasting, they will not maintain the proper size and the depth. The next sowing method is using implements. So the first picture shows the traditional tool which is used to sow seeds in a funnel shaped implement connected to the pipes with the sharp edges. You can see the first picture. And the tool is moved over the soil and seeds placed in the funnel or deposited in the soil. The next picture shows the model implement used is called a seed drill. This is the seed drill picture. The seed drill is moved over the field using bullocks or tractors. Using the seed drills, it saves time also and labor. It sows seed at uniform depth and distance. It also covers the soil after sowing, thus protecting the seeds from birds and other animals. So this is one of the benefit for using this seed drill. After completing the first two steps, so what are the first two steps of doing the agriculture practices? The first one is preparation of soil using the plow or using the tractor, and the second one is what? Sowing of seeds. So after everything is done, the third step is what? Irrigation. So why we are doing the irrigation? So once the seed was sown, the plant need water to grow. So what is the natural source of water in the earth? It is the only natural source of water is what? Rainfall. However, many areas under cultivation receive either insufficient or erratic rainfall, and some crops need more water than is supplied by rainfall. For wheat, it need less water, but for paddy, it need more water. Due to this erratic rainfall, that is less rainfall areas, so where do we collect the water? We collect the water from other sources such as nearby rivers, lakes, wells, tube wells and canals. So the application of water to land or soil for agriculture purposes is called irrigation. The timing and frequency of irrigation depends on the type of crop, soil and season. The methods of irrigation are broadly classified into two. They are traditional methods and modern methods. Now, deeply we see what are the traditional methods of irrigations are there. Usually, traditional methods involve using cattle or human labor to carry water from its source or to fields. Such methods are cheaper but less efficient as they result in wastage of water and take lot of time. These are the two disadvantages. The following examples of traditional methods of irrigation are moat, chain pump, Deckley, Rawhead, furrow irrigation and canal irrigation. These are the traditional methods of irrigation. The first traditional method is moat. So here Water is drawn from a well using a pulley system and is poured into a moat. So from the moat, water pours into the fields through an opening in the moat wall. The second traditional method is chain pump. Here what are things we are using? We are using wheels, chain and water pump to carry water from well to the fields. The third traditional method is Dekli. So here ropes and a container are used to get water from a well. So this water can then be poured into the moat to reach the fields. The fourth traditional method is rawhead. This consists of water wheel lever system. So in this wheel it is connected to a well and it is turned by animals such as oxen to draw water from the well. So the water is poured into a moat and reaches the fields to water the crops. The next traditional method is furrow irrigation. See the picture E. Here we have a deep rows, or you can call it as a furrows. Furrows or deep rows, the same meaning. It containing water or dug between rows of crops in a field and filled with water. And the last traditional method is canal irrigation. Here water is supplied to crops through a canal. The second method of irrigation is modern methods. In modern methods, we use water more efficiently with less wastage compared to traditional method. The two main modern irrigations are sprinkler irrigation and drip irrigation. Now we see the first method of irrigation, that is sprinkler irrigation. So it is a system which is useful in areas with scarce rainfall, sandy soil and uneven land. It consists of pipes that transport water from source to fields. The pipes have a rotating nozzles at regular intervals along the pipes. So the nozzles spray water onto the crops at regular intervals. Next modern method is drip irrigation. So it is the most water efficient method for watering fruit plants, gardens and trees. A drip irrigation system is a name so because water is made to fall drop by drop near the roots of plants. Through the small hole in the pipes at regular intervals, the limited area around the plant is irrigated. If it is installed properly, this system can reduce the loss of water. Fourth step in agriculture practices, that is crop protection. Once the farmers sown the seeds, the plants start to grow. Then the crop should be monitored and protected from weeds and pests. Now we will see how to protect the crops. Certain undesirable plants grow along with crops in fields and compete with them for water, mineral space and sunlight. Such plants are called weeds. So what do you mean by weeds? Along with the crops, some unwanted plants will grow, that is called as weeds. So these unwanted crops also share water, nutrients, space and sunlight of the crops. For better understanding, just imagine a small situation. You are sitting with your friend in the park. Now you have two apples with you. If you feel hungry, what you will do? You will take the two apples. You alone will not eat the two apples because your friend is sitting near with you. So what you will do? Obviously you share the apple with your friend. If you ate the two apple means you will get the two apple nutrients. But you ate only one apple, so you will get the one apple nutrients alone. Like this, crops also sharing their water, nutrients, space and sunlight to the nearby unwanted plants. That is the weeds. So the crop will not receive the full nutrients, water, space and sunlight. So the farmers needs to protect the crops from the weeds. I hope you understand what are weeds and why it is an unwanted plant for the crops also we understand. Even some weeds are poisonous for animals and human beings. So weeds need to be removed to allow the crop plants to grow and stay healthy. The removal of weeds from fields is called weeding. It is done either manually or by applying weedicides. Some common weeds are Paranthenium, grass, wild oats, Chenopodium and Amaranthus. Now we will discuss the methods of weeding. So weeding is done either manually or by applying weedicides. First we will discuss the manual weeding. The first step of agriculture practices is the preparation of the soil. So in preparation of soil, what we will do, we will plough the soil or tilling the soil. Weeding during tilling, which removes the weed, then they dry up and mix with the soil. So manual removal of weeds include uprooting or cutting them near the root time to time. So cutting is done using hurpi and also seed drills. In the picture you can see the implements used in weeding. They are trowel, harrow and hoe. So manual weeding is an effective method of removing weeds, especially within the rows of crops and in hilly areas where other methods cannot be applied there. So however, it can be certain disadvantage also. Now we'll see what are the disadvantages. Now we will see what are the disadvantages of manual weeding. So it is a tedious process and time consuming that requires lot of labor. So the farmers need to spend more time and money also. It cannot be carried over a large area or when the soil is dry and hard. If the roots are not completely removed properly means again the weeds will be grown in the same place. So these are the disadvantages of manual weeding. Next weeding process is applying weedicides. Generally, weedicides are chemicals that kill weeds and control their growth in crop fields. So applying weedicides is a more effective method of controlling weeds. Weedicides like dichlorophenoxyacetic acid. So these are sprayed on crops and it kills the weeds and doesn't damage the crop also. So applying weedicides is an effective method, but anyway, weedicides should be used with a care as they are more poisonous to human beings and can cause even severe side effects when touched or inhaled or consumed. So it affects the farmer health. The farmer should cover their mouth and nose with the piece of cloth. Next we learn about the fifth step of agriculture processes. Harvesting. So when harvesting is done, once the crop grows and matures and then the crop is harvested. What is harvesting? The cutting of crop after it is mature is called harvesting, or you can say the process of cutting and gathering ripened crops is called harvesting. For harvesting cereal crop, it takes 3 to 4 months to mature. Crops are pulled out or cut close to the ground. So how harvesting is done? In our country, either done by sickle or by a machine called harvester. In the picture, you can see some of the implements used in manual harvesting. They are sickle, scythe and cordle. So manual harvesting is also called hand reaping. The crop is either plucked directly by hand or by cutting the stalk using these implements. During mechanical harvesting, crops are harvested with a reaping machine called the harvester. So in the picture you can see the harvester machine. Harvesters make the process easier, cheaper, more time efficient and also reduce waste. After harvesting the crops, what the farmer will do? The farmer separated the seeds from crops and chaff. To separate the crops and chaff, there are two methods are there. They are threshing and winnowing method. In threshing process, the plants which are beaten in order to loosen the grains from the chaff and stalk. Chaff means the husk of the seed separated by winnowing or threshing method. That is the outer layer of the grains. In paddy, you can see the outer layer of the grains. So threshing means what? It is to remove the seeds from the stalks of crops. The next method is winnowing. In winnowing, the lighter chaff is then separated from the heavier grain by a process called winnowing. So this is done either manually or with the help of a machine called the winnowing machine. Winnowing means what? It is to remove the seeds from the chaff. Harvesting is a festival for farmer also. After 3 or 4 months of hard work, there comes the day of the harvest, the sight of golden fields of standing crop laden with grain. So fills the hearts of farmers with joy and a sense of well-being. Do you know why we celebrate Pongal every year? This is one of the main reasons for celebrating Pongal. Once harvest is done, the farmer need to preserve and storage the harvest in a proper way. So harvested grain needs to be stored safely before it can be transported or distributed. Storage is the important task for keeping the harvested crops for a longer time. They should be protected from insects, rats, moisture and microorganisms. So the grains are cleaned, sun dried to remove moisture and treated with pesticides to protect them from pests. Then the grains are packed into sacks or containers or bins and stored in a place that has a low temperature and low moisture content so that they last for a long time. So the containers used to store grains should be cleaned, dried and treated with pesticides before use. Large steel tanks are called granaries or silos. In the picture you can see the silos which is used to store vast amount of grain. So the stored grain should be checked every month during cold weather and every 2 weeks during warm or rainy weather for mold, insect, rodents and other pests.